Good evening, guys. It is Monday, March 3rd, 2025. This Bathrobe business. I'm Georgie Oganov. I got my coffee, my decaf coffee, and I have the news. I didn't have a video last Thursday. I kind of forgot last minute that I was supposed to go to an anime movie. So my friend got tickets to the new Gundam series, and so it was a lot of fun. It felt like the olden days. So I last minute I totally forgot. Like, oh crap, I've got a movie to get to. So I didn't even get home until like 11 o'clock that night. But highly recommend it. Go check out the new Gundam movie. So let's jump into the news. So major developments with the Trump tariffs truly going into effect. Before we get to that, I'm just going to share one quick metric from Friday. Let me make sure you can see this article. Okay. PCE data, which is the Fed's favorite metric. I don't really understand why. I think PCE and CPI are better, but Fed's favorite metric says that inflation is on track as expected. So, a bit surprising that the last few numbers we've been getting have been very high, but the annual rate year to year is still holding at 2.6% after January numbers. So, not as bad as we had anticipated. We'll see what the subsequent numbers come now that tariffs are going to come into effect, but for right now, somewhat optimistic. So, headline story: the Trump tariffs are happening. So Canada and Mexico will have a 25% tariff as of tomorrow. Now, there could be something that goes on overnight. Sometimes that kind of stuff happens, and sometimes they can get reversed or delayed or something. But as of now, we're like less than 12. It's 9 o'clock right now. 12 hours until deadline, and there's still no reversal. So we'll see what actually happens with that. We may end up seeing Trump tariffs going into effect. Now, the interesting thing here is that it's 25% tariffs on Mexico, 25% tariffs on Canada, but in addition, 10% on China. This is in addition to the 10% that Trump passed just a month ago in February. So this would now make the Trump tariffs 20% on China. And I believe this is also doubling down on existing tariffs he passed in his first administration because those were never repealed by Biden. And in addition, Biden passed 100% tariffs on digital products like electric cars and solar panels and multiple other technologies. So that's kind of massive. In just the last 10 years, tariffs have gone from zero to whatever on Chinese products. So this is definitely going to have powerful effects on the economy. Now, in regards to Canada and Mexico, we trade a ton with Mexico. Everything from cars to minerals to everyday household products. Canada, we're a bit more restrictive with, but one of the biggest exports is going to be petroleum, and it's going to be minerals and lumber. So originally, it was my belief from articles I had read that oil was not going to be affected by the tariffs. However, that seems to be untrue now. Multiple stories that I'm not sharing here, but multiple stories I read with Bloomberg and with the Associated Press say that oil will have a tariff of about 10%, not as high as the 25% tariff on most products, but still 10%. The only good news is currently oil prices are actually pretty well below average. So let's go to CNBC real quick. Current price of oil is $68 a barrel, and Brent is at 71.12. So oil is actually lower than it was at the same point last year. So that is good. But overall, that number is going to go up just because we get a fair amount of petroleum. I believe specifically oil sands come from Canada. So oil prices will rise at the pumps. Now, I'm not going to share the story here, but as of literally like an hour or two ago, Trump has suspended all military aid to Ukraine. So that could change the equation. If that puts pressure on Ukraine signing a ceasefire and a deal with Russia quickly, we could see that reverse if the sanctions on Russia start to ease. So if sanctions go away, obviously they won't be overnight, but by summer, we could see oil prices drop again. Generally, prices in the summer will increase with oil as more travel, both leisure and business starts up, but it could actually drop down because we'll see a greater ease on sanctions from Russia, but that's still unclear. That's just something on the horizon that could happen. Now, in addition, we're going to see a effect on housing for sure. We get a ton of lumber from Canada. About, I believe, 40% of the lumber used for construction in the United States comes from Canada. So a lot of that could have already been priced because I think a lot of builders were anticipating this. However, I still think it's going to play a massive effect into the price of new builds and to the price of homes overall. That's just some of the major points that are going to be coming. I'm sure there's a lot of minor points that I'm missing here. I know there are. There's a multitude of different products traded between the United States and Canada, and the United States and Mexico, but that's just some of the major ones. In addition, Canada has already passed retaliatory tariffs that will go into effect on Tuesday as well, says Justin Trudeau. So far, Mexico has not retaliated. China says they will retaliate, but Canada is already set to retaliate with products that we sell to them. Now, we sell a ton of products into Canada, definitely more than they sell to us. The biggest question is going to be, will this hurt them more than it hurts us? Seeing as how, granted, we buy a lot of products from Canada, but they definitely buy more American products than we do, than we buy Canadian. So this could be a bit of a double-edged sword. I don't think this will work out great for Canada. I'm not going to focus on it because this is mainly an American-centric channel, but I don't think this is going to have the effect that Justin Trudeau thinks it will. Next story, let's talk about crypto. So originally on Sunday, Trump said that he was going to essentially double down on crypto because he had already talked about a strategic Bitcoin reserve, but he pretty much expanded that into a strategic crypto reserve that would include Bitcoin, Ethereum, what's the other one? Solana? I can never remember that other one. Solana, yeah. And so Bitcoin rose drastically. Remember, it was down below 90,000 when we had talked last week. After that announcement, it rose to a high of 95,000 off of the bullish attempt that, off the bullish thought that crypto was going to be a main staple of the Trump administration. However, now with the tariffs in play, Bitcoin has plummeted. So Bitcoin is currently below 85,000. It is currently sitting, let me give you the exact number, at 83,720, massive drop. And all cryptos are down. Ethereum, Solana, Doge. It is just a bad day for crypto. This is very interesting. This shouldn't happen with crypto because technically all these governments going head to head, all the instability between them should cause crypto to rise if the theories were correct behind crypto. I don't think they are. I think much of crypto is mostly a Ponzi scheme, but this is going to be a real test of what happens in 2025 with crypto. If the economy is going to go through contraction, if tariffs are going to go into effect all over the world, we're moving into multipolarity, right? If all that happens, money has to get much more strategic and money has to get much more serious. Unless the Fed keeps cutting rates, then nothing will happen. But if the Fed maintains or even maybe raises rates, it's going to be a day of reckoning to see if crypto is really here to stay or not. Because when money becomes scarce, when it becomes more strategic, fancy financial assets and fancy financial models like crypto just don't play as well as they used to. And if crypto survives it, then I'm totally wrong and crypto is here to stay. But if crypto doesn't, then that's it. That's the end of crypto. 2025 is going to be, I don't want to say a make it or break it year, but it's definitely going to be a turning point year for crypto for sure. Last story I'm going to cover is NVIDIA. So this is very interesting. NVIDIA has fallen even further. It's down another 9% in the pre-market. I believe it was at like 120. Before their earnings call last week, they were in the 130s per share. So they're plummeting even further. But this isn't about earnings. This is something else. So for a long time, and as we've reported on this channel, it was believed that China was getting NVIDIA chips through Singapore. That a lot of the talk behind DeepSeek was actually behind high-end NVIDIA chips. Because shortly after the tariffs and restrictions, I shouldn't say tariffs, embargoes passed, that the United States was no longer allowed to sell high-end AI chips to China. This was under the Biden administration. Instantly, Singapore became a major buyer of these AI chips with really no industry to show for it. Well, it seems that finally it's starting to become apparent that the U.S. officials cannot ignore this problem. And so currently there are major smuggling rings that are being caught, and they are being imprisoned, shut down, etc., all across Singapore. So there was one cartel. It's let's see. This was a really good story. Give me 1 second. Singapore has been working to dismantle a shadow network trapping NVIDIA's cutting-edge AI chips. Last week, authorities detained 3 people on charges of deliberately misrepresenting the final destination of the U.S. manufactured servers, likely NVIDIA's high-end, sought-after chips. So, in other words, they were going to Singapore, then they were actually getting shipped to Malaysia, and then from there, they were finding their way back into China. So this has been a massive boost to NVIDIA's stock price. So if this continues, if this crackdown continues, and this isn't just something to be a flash in the pan, just something that will hit the news one day but have no real long-lasting effect, this will be a major contraction for NVIDIA, because this has been about 18% of their overall revenue in the last year alone. So you're talking about a 20% haircut, in addition to the haircuts they have already taken in valuation and a slowdown in AI in general. So this could be massive change for NVIDIA here in the next coming weeks. That's pretty much it. Those are the stories of the day. Tomorrow, we'll finally know what happens with these tariffs, if Trump is truly serious or if something else happens. I hope you guys have a productive day. And unless I forgot about another AI movie I need to go see, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks.